Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of the I Love Shreveport Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Williams. Super excited about today because we have a important sit-down conversation with our City Council Chairwoman, Madam Tabatha Taylor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Glad to have you on today.
To be here.
Absolutely.
You all out late out of your blue.
Come on. I knew you were coming, so I had to put my blue on, right?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Before we dive into our important conversation, we just want to ask you to tell everybody who you are, where you come from. Give us a little background of Miss Tabatha Taylor.
Oh, I am a Cooper Roadian.
Okay.
Born and reared on the Cooper Road. I am a graduate of Fair Park High School because we moved from the Cooper Road area, and also I am a cum laude graduate of the Southern University in Baton Rouge in Mass Comm.
Come on.
Yes. So, television is my thing.
Absolutely.
I have one son, Dominique, affectionately known as the Big Cheese.
Yes.
A lot of my work is in advocacy and grassroots community activism, which is very, very important to me. But I also am a communications director for the Office Hub and do some other work for mental health companies. I just finagle my way. I spent a lot of time working with El Dorado Casino, handling all of the entertainment that would come through the casino for 20 plus years.
Wow.
So I have met my, handful of celebrities coming through and working with them. So that was rather amazing.
Wow, you got a great background.
Ooh, it's exciting.
Extensive, yeah. First and foremost, though, congratulations on being the first woman to lead the city
Thank you.
council. Can you explain your role as the chairwoman? Tell us what that may entail for somebody that may not know. What all comes along with being the chairwoman?
It seems like that means my number is on the bathroom wall that say call Councilwoman Taylor if you have any issues. I asked Councilwoman the same thing. Is your phone ringing like our phone is ringing? I say, so I think that's the first thing that it means. But Councilwoman Bowman and myself, for the first time in history, there are two women leading the Shreveport City Council, and that has never happened before. And Ms. Bowman continues the legacy of her mother, who I believe probably was one of the first chairwomen of the Shreveport City Council, Joyce Bowman. And so I'm following in those footsteps, which means that literally I'm like third in charge of the city. If the mayor should leave and go out the state, then I become the mayor pro tem and exercise all of the duties of the mayor in his absence. But that leadership role also speaks to my colleagues, because your colleagues are the ones that vote you into this position as the chairman and serving in a leadership capacity. And so my role still stays the same in serving, our constituents, but it's also just the opportunity, again, to really look at the city full scale, because if anything should happen to the mayor of Shreveport, then I step up in his role.
Absolutely. And so you're the chairwoman. You're also over a district. Is that correct?
District the A.
The A. There's no B or C or D without the A, right?
Like, tell me about it. It is the A. Tell James Green that's the only one.
Absolutely. So today we'd like to have a little conversation about autism, right? Autism spectrum disorder, ASD, which is a condition that affects brain development, influencing how a person perceives and interacts with others. As we understand, you have a child with autism, and if you're comfortable, we'd like for you to share some of your personal experience with us concerning
definitely.
autism.
My son will be 30 years old this year.
Wow.
So I've been advocating for autism for 28 years. And my son developed normally, and then at the age of 2, almost 3 years old, he lost his ability to speak.
Wow.
I started seeing my son possibly fading away, didn't know what that was, had no clue what autism was. The only reference that I knew of autism was the movie Rain Man. And so when I had taken him in for an examination, first with his pediatrician, they were just at a loss. And so I took him to a speech therapist, and that's when they gave me the diagnosis of autism. Wow. For me, it's a very personal journey because I grieved quite a bit as a mother. Went through this period of thinking, was it something that I did in my pregnancy? What was really, really going on? And so the internet actually just really starting to pump its brakes. And so I was able to go into the library and then reading on the internet what was autism. And so at that time, Corey, it was 1 in 10,000 individuals were diagnosed with autism. But all of a sudden, there was this spurt in autism. And California had a whole lot of material as it relates to autism. So it went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 55, then 1 in 150, 1 in 96, and now it's 1 in 36 individuals that are affected by autism, and mostly they are African American boys and Hispanic boys that are affected here. And so during the journey for my son, there wasn't any insurance. You know, it was still brand new as what was happening with their very limited resources. And so just as a mother and what any other mother would do, then I said I need to find which way that I'm going to help my child. Absolutely. And that's when my real advocacy began, besides what I was doing grassroots. So I went to the legislature. One of my good friends was a representative at the time, Patrick Williams. He and Floyd Kersey walked from Shreveport to Baton Rouge to raise the level of awareness for autism for 4 years, walked. And it was something that they would stop along the towns and doing this, and how appreciative it was. He even furthered that along with Representative Foyle, because insurance did not cover this. And so autism is extremely expensive, and was extremely expensive at that time. You saw parents losing home or mortgaging their homes just to pray for any therapies that their children needed. Plus also there was the prey on the parents, because they knew that they were, you know, in a desperate attempt to save their children. Because so many individuals want to try to normalize autism instead of understanding what autism really, really is. And so for me, I went to Baton Rouge. I spoke on autism, my first time speaking to the committee, but Representative Foyle introduced the bill along with Representative Williams being one of the sponsors. And Louisiana became the first state where autism became a qualifying condition for insurance. Wow. And Blue Cross Blue Shield was that carrier that actually provided those particular services for autism. You had Elise Latier, Ron Latier, Yvonne Boldwan, Kimberly Wardell, who has Little Works in Progress. They were very instrumental in this fight of helping to propel this autism journey that we're in right now. The parents that I had met, Yvonne Boldwan was a parent that had a child with autism and introduced me to Miss Wardell to provide speech therapy services. And so that's where their fight began. So now today, you don't have to go through what I went through. Because the path has already been paved, where autism resources are available, treatments, and the earlier the intervention, the better. So what wasn't available to my son is now available for your loved one. Wow. And that's what advocacy is.
Now that was some great information. The fact that we just got out of Women's History Month, you made history in doing some legwork to kind of help now with others. You've spoken to committees. This is, man, absolutely.
I didn't want anybody to go through what I went through. It's very hard in itself when you receive the diagnosis, because you have all these dreams and aspirations, for your children. And so for me, it was devastating, but I had to fight for my son. That's why fighting for me comes easy.
Absolutely. So as a mother, what advice or insights would you offer to other parents who may be facing similar challenges with a child in the spectrum?
Embrace the feelings that you have. That's the typical process that you're going to go through. There is going to be a grieving process that you go through because you feel that there is a loss there. But what I also need you to do while you're going through that process, get your child the help. There is nothing for you to be embarrassed about. Typically, it is often difficult depending on where the child is on the spectrum, because no two autistic individuals are alike. And I want for parents that if their child has an inability to speak, it doesn't mean that your child is low performing, because their brain is a sponge. You tell the big, let us go to the doctor, and the big cheese know you have to get a shot. You just bring in your whole linebacker team, because you're going to have to hold him down, because that is lodged in his memory when he sees a needle. So, but I mean, the miraculous things that they do and the gifts that God gives them in there, it's a behavioral, disorder. So therefore, a lot of the things that they act out are through behavior. But my son did very well with learning sign language. You know, and some people would tell you to shy away from that. It's like, no, if that's what he knows, then it's upon me to learn this sign that you're teaching him. So it's getting an understanding of autism, understanding the quirks and all of these. Well, when I had the resource center, I put together a whole packet for parents to say, my child has been diagnosed with autism, now what? Sign up for the services that are available through the state. Get your child, if they need speech therapy, get them in the clinic. The insurance is there for them. You have LSU Behavioral Health, Little Works in Progress. Your pediatrician should be abreast of those things. Early Steps is available. Get your child into those programs.
Absolutely. Research indicates that the emotional impact of autism on families can lead to stress and anxiety, right?
Yes.
So how have you personally managed these challenges, and what strategies have worked for you maintaining your well-being?
My faith, definitely. And I would encourage churches, because you have 1 in 36 individuals that are affected by autism, means that you're going to have a person in your church that is on the spectrum. And so oftentimes what happens is that parents don't have an outlet, and you need to give them an outlet. Create a space for that at your church. If it's somebody that will be able to work with the child, to give the parents a breather, because you're going to have an outlet.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to take advantage of the services that are available, to hire a caretaker to come into your home to be able to do that, because you're still human. These things can be overwhelming. They are different little triggers for us. When you say the full moon, like I subscribe to a group, and we always look and say, oh, Lord, it's a full moon. What our children going to do right now? Because it's like heightened activity that comes along. You're like, oh, Lord, well, I'm going to run down the street. What am I going to do? But I mean, those are the things that we typically face with. You got to understand the triggers. And so you learn how to create that balance. And if you have a support system or a support group, then you teach and educate your family members and your friends on autism, so they will be able to understand. Pretty much their individuals with autism have some social deficits. The big cheese has social deficits when he wants to have social deficits. If he like you, he right here up in your face. If he doesn't like you, leave him alone. Please go on about your business. The stressful part becomes because they will act out in behaviors, with their behaviors. And some people will almost, if they have a total meltdown, will almost look at it and it's like, oh, this child is abusing you, or they can't talk. It is educating our public on what those triggers are and what to do and what not to do.
Absolutely, which leads me to my next question, because I was going to ask, are there any resources, classes, support systems available for individuals, families who want to learn more about living a healthy life while navigating challenges in autism? Are there any resource classes?
Families Helping Families is one of the best resources around here. They're actually having a seminar class April 12th that says autism is not a dirty word. And I implore people to go to their website and take a look at that. Office of Childhood Development Disorders, they often have teachable moments as well. Little Works in Progress, Ochsner LSU, all of these entities and other pediatric clinics, they have these resources. Perfect Fit for Autism, they do a lot of group activities and where you can navigate through this process, because it's ongoing for us. It's ongoing for us. Where we still continuously have to fight is in the school system, and having people trained and to understand how we deal with these children. I used to tell them when Dominique was in school, listen, you're going to have more and more children that come in here on the autism spectrum. So there's no need for you to try to figure out, oh, we're going to have 1 or 2 at a time. You're going to need to fix some permanent things
Absolutely.
in place for that population, because it's a large population within itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're a major advocate for autism, and now you've got an event that you do, and it's coming up, I believe, April the 30th.
Yes.
Tell us about the event, who can attend, who should attend, where it's going to be. Just give us some insight on this event. What's
Everybody and their mama can come to my event. It is free to the public.
Absolutely.
It is free to the public. This is the second year that we're lighting up the Bukowski Bridge. Typically, I've done autism events, oh my God, probably almost 14, 15 years.
Yes.
And so this event with the bridge lighting is just symbolic of the support that we provide autism families within our region. But you're more than welcome to come if you're listening under the sound of my voice. We will be out there at the amphitheater right by the Red River at 7:30. And so we will all come together. We want the families to come and to bring their loved ones. This is a non-judgmental zone.
Absolutely.
So whatever the quirks that may bother you about your children, if you got to move over, take them to the side, I totally get that, because I have to do the same thing with my son. Come on out, wear your blue shirt, and watch as we illuminate the bridge.
Wow.
I call it one big family affair. It doesn't last very long, because I'm not trying to keep you out long, but the lighting of their bridge is absolutely beautiful, and it's just symbolic of the support and the inclusion that we want our families to know are here, right here in the Shreveport-Bossier community.
Absolutely. So again, that's April the 30th.
April the 30th, 7:30.
7:30. So those of you that are watching, we want you to bring all of your family, all of your friends. Come out and let's be very, very supportive.
Get you some nice shirts. Create you some nice shirts with your loved one on there.
Blue.
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 Oh, yeah, because we're going to be fly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Will there be food or anything?
No, because you're not going to be out there long.
You're going to be long.
Eat before you come.
Eat before you
Absolutely.
You come. Absolutely.
Now, Holy Angels is supposed to have ice cream if they're still partnering with us at the end of the month, but I would implore you to get you something to eat.
Get you something
Feed
before or after, right?
Feed your children before you come out there.
Absolutely. Councilwoman, Madam Chair, thank you so much for your time today. You and for being dedicated to the city of Shreveport. Before we wrap it up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience as relates to autism?
I am just grateful for the opportunity to continuously share about autism, because it's ongoing, and I want families to know that you have overwhelming support, and inclusion is very, very important to me. One of the other things that we look to do this month during Autism Awareness is to our unified database. Many people don't know that the Shreveport Fire Department has a form that families can complete, saying that their child has autism or whatever the exceptionality is, if they're wheelchair bound, whatever the situation is. And they complete this form, it uploads into our CAD system for 911. So in an event that if you needed to call 911, in the comments it could say child or adult with autism, nonverbal, turn off sirens. As you turn off lights as you enter the property, or here's someone who is paraplegic in a wheelchair. I think that level of communication has to get out there, and so that's what we consider to be the unified database. Even if you have someone with mental health issues, this form has to be updated every 6 months, but we need to put that out there. They have that. I know our fire department has it, and also our sheriff, but we are unifying with all first responding agencies, because we think that is essential for parents, because one of the characteristics of autism is wandering, and so it's something that you can update in the 911 system.
Absolutely. And before we go, we normally ask all of our guests to just give us one reason why you love Shreveport.
The reason that I love Shreveport is because of its people. We are a community that is rich in family and love, and I think that we have this exciting opportunity to create Shreveport the way that we want to see it, the way that it needs to be seen. The multi-ethnic races that are here, how we collaborate, how we unite is so important. And I think that we need to embrace that.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we've got our Madam Chair, Councilwoman Tabatha Taylor, who's come and sit down with us. We've had this great in-depth conversation. We want you to make sure that you are liking and subscribing to our YouTube channels, which is City of Shreveport, LA. And then as you're doing that, don't forget to stay connected with us on all of our social media platforms. Again, thank you again for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.